Last night was horrible. To the point where I have to enunciate that word because simply saying horrible does not give it justice. It started off relatively well because the night before that I didn't sleep very well. So, around 8 o'clock at night, started getting ready for bed. By 8:30 I was in bed. I was ready. I was tired enough that I wouldn't have an issue falling asleep. Um, I was comfortable pretty much in every position that I tried, which is kind of rare. It usually kind of takes me a while to finally find a position that's comfortable enough and kind of, toss and turn enough that my body gets tired enough that I can fall asleep. But that wasn't happening yesterday. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Everything seems great. Like I'm tired enough, I'm comfortable, there's barely any pain in my leg. This is going to be a good night. There was just one slight issue. And I don't know why, but for some reason yesterday, there was a tickle in my throat. Now, lately, especially for the last couple of months, the coughing, the type of cough I've had is a wet cough, meaning that it's triggered by phlegm, and it's that sensation of like, oh, there's phlegm in my throat, phlegm in my lungs, like I need to get it out, it's uncomfortable, so that's what causes me to cough, and then when I cough, and a chunk of it comes out, it's like, okay, I feel good for a while, and then I don't cough until that sensation comes back again. So, the frequency of that varies, but that's usually kind of how it feels or how it's felt for the last few months. Yesterday, for some reason, there was like a tickle in my throat, and every single time I inhaled, it would tickle my throat and cause me to cough. It's like, even though I was tired enough, even though I was comfortable in every position, even though there was barely any pain in my leg, I was not able to fall asleep because of that cough triggered by that tickle in my throat. So I tried for a couple hours, you know, just did not work. I drank a bunch of water, did not work. Had to go to the bathroom a couple times because of all the water that I drank. Did not help. Eventually, I'm like, all right, let's go try and take a spoonful of honey. Maybe that's gonna work. I doubt it because in general, honey is when your throat's irritated. In this case, it's not irritated. It's just like itchy, and it just like triggers coughing whenever I breathe. So I'm like, but at this point, it was I think like 10:30 at that point. So I'm like, I'm gonna give it a try. So I go take a spoonful of honey, let it slowly, dissolve in my mouth and swallow it very slowly, so it has the most effect possible. And it helps a tiny bit for a couple minutes, and then it just goes back to exactly the way it was. So try to tough it out for a while. Eventually, around like 11, I'm just like, all right, there's no point in staying in bed. Let's just get up, go watch TV for a while, distract myself. Hope I'll probably have a tea as well. Tea, warm water, honey, um, lemon's probably gonna help a bit with the throat. So that's what I did. Got up, watched some TV. Near the end of it, when I'm like, all right, time to kind of go back to bed, or try to go back to bed. And made myself a tea and drank it, and it did help more than the honey. So I went back to bed. It was probably around midnight, something like that. But, yes, it was better, but it was not perfect. So, still itchy throat, still coughing. So, I managed to tough it out long enough that at that point I'm just so exhausted that I eventually fall asleep. The problem is, I woke up like a dozen times during the night. And during, a brief period, because, I fell asleep. I don't know what time I fell asleep. Let's say I fell asleep at 12:30. I know that I officially woke up at 7:30, which gives a 7-hour period. I woke up at least a dozen times during those 7 hours. And at least the coughing, because, apparently sleeping, relaxes your body and everything. And apparently for some reason, that got rid of the tickle in my throat, so I wasn't coughing as much. But every single time I woke up, really intense pain in my leg. I don't know where it came from. Really intense headache, which is weird given the amount of water that I drank and the tea and everything. It's like I shouldn't be having a headache. So, Anyway, very annoying, made it very difficult to fall asleep. I considered taking a pain pill, but I'm like, I don't want to, keep drugging myself all the time. The pain has been really good for the last couple of days. Haven't had to take one for the last few days. I don't want to get back in the habit of having to take pain pills. So let's just try to tough it out. So eventually managed to tough it out by 7:30 in the morning when I finally, officially wake up and I'm just like I can't take this anymore. So took a pain pill. Did take a while to take effect, so I was lying in bed, not able to sleep for maybe half an hour, and then it started taking effect enough that I was able to fall back asleep. And I slept for another good 2.5, 3 hours. Um, but like that was today. That was not last night. Last night was horrible. It feels like I didn't sleep at all. Even though yes I did, it's just every time I woke up, intense pain, intense headache. My throat was a little. It didn't really hurt. It's just it felt dry for some reason, which is weird. But anyway, and it just like it sucked. And when you wake up in the middle of the night and you go to the bathroom and turn on the light, like your eyes, like they don't really hurt, but it takes a while to adjust. It's like intense. Well, it was like that, but like times 10. Like my eyes legit hurt, and I had to be like, ah, and like try to adjust, and it would take like a good 15 seconds before I'm not in pain and I'm able to see enough to be able to pee. So that was definitely not pleasant. So the night itself was horrible. Yes, enunciated. This morning did make up for it because I had a good 2.5 hours of sleep. I went to sleep. I managed to fall asleep probably around like 7:30, something like that, and then woke up at 11. So a good 2.5 hours, and then I'm like, I could get up, but I want to try to recover as much as I can. So I just stayed in bed another hour. I wasn't sleeping, but my eyes were closed. I was just relaxed. So, almost sleeping. And that, really allowed me to recover from the crappy, crappy night that I had. And yesterday, I called my pivot nurse just to say, like, for the last couple months, I've noticed that I have a lot of phlegm, and that's what's triggering the cough. Like, I sense that if I was able to get rid of that phlegm somehow, I would barely cough at all. Is there anything that we can do? Any type of medication? I'm open to anything. So she called me back this morning when I was in bed, relaxing, not quite sleeping, and she told me like, okay, that for that type of thing, you need to reach out to your um, cancer rehab team. So that's what I'm going to do later today. But it's just funny that like coughing was the issue yesterday, and then this morning she calls me back. I don't know. I just or maybe I'm just so exhausted at this point that I thought it was funny when it's not, because now that I think of it, it's really not funny. But anyway, yeah, so my night really sucked. And the thing is, with the eating issues, it's been harder lately. I've had less appetite. I've thrown up a couple times. It's more difficult to get myself to eat sufficiently. And I'm like, all right, I know that when I wake up earlier and I go to bed earlier, I'm able to eat more because I'm able to, wake up earlier and eat breakfast and then eat lunch and eat dinner like midway through the afternoon. That allows me to consume enough calories because I don't know why, for some reason, like past four-ish, something like that, my body just has a very difficult time handling food. So I'm like, all right, I need to get back in that routine of going to bed early and waking up early. Unfortunately, because of yesterday and the night before, like the last couple of nights have been, well, they've sucked. So it's like I'm just getting more and more exhausted, and as a result of that, I have to recover during the day, and that just makes me sleep later. So it's like I'm literally training my body to go to sleep or to wake up later, which makes me less tired at night, and I end up going to sleep later when what I'm trying to do, what I need to be doing in order to maximize my eating window is the opposite, is to go to bed earlier and wake up earlier. So That's going to be kind of the struggle for the next couple of days. At least for now, the pain is gone. I survived the night. But yeah, it was definitely intense. So hopefully, cancer rehab team can, suggest something that works to get rid or at least diminish the amount of phlegm so I'm not coughing all the time because that seems to be the biggest issue at the moment. That's what seems to be causing the problems. So if I'm able to kind of like take care of that at least partially, it should make things easier. So yeah, positive, I survived the night. A negative, it was very, 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 very crappy night. Hopefully you had a better one. So anyway, thank you for watching and I'll check back in the future.